All right, guys, welcome to our podcast. We saw in the comments and people are asking about brands going global, especially as we are expert in China social media. We will talk about brand that are coming to China, for example, they're entering the Chinese market. But we will also talk about another subject which is very important, is necessary to be multimedia and what is the benefits. To start, let's introduce everybody, guys. Let's introduce, first of all, in my right side.
Hi everyone, I'm Zoe, as you might have seen me already a few times, and I'm the Senior Account Manager at Silver Multimedia.
Hi, this is Yezi. Nice to meet everyone again. I am the marketing specialist of BD department at Silver Multimedia.
Hello everyone, Wendy. I'm the business development at Silver Multimedia.
All right, so let's discuss about brands who are going global, because most of the brands, they start locally in one country or in one region. And after that, if things going well for the brand, they usually try to go global. Now, talking about going global, I think the marketing strategy cannot be the same. What do you think about that, Wendy?
I agree. I think if international brands, you want to really succeed and stand out in local markets, the core is to understand the difference between culture. And the culture is not only simply the translation of copyright or content or add subtitles in the video. It's the whole characteristic of the market. So we need to understand the behavior, the difference of cognition behind each local market of your target audiences. This is the number one important steps we need to do behind a lot of researchers and markets, including competitor analysis, etc. And of course, we need to, because different markets, we have different types of social media platforms. This is the globally trends that users, they're using more and more digital and searches online, but still each market we have different habits and behavior. For example, for us China markets, we rely a lot more on influencer marketing comparatively to Western markets, which they are tend to search individually online, which means if we are going to China market, we need to rely on influencer strategies, which is the core is word of mouth and referral marketing. Especially in China, we have our own social media metrics, which is similar kind of, but still a lot differences than Western social media in overall. So this is a must for digital marketing in China. And then to go deeper, we have different platforms, of course, with different type of online target users portrait. The famous ones, I think everybody knows. We also go globally international, but each platform and account, we have different functions that still need time to test, to research, to execute, to track the data, and to review and adjust.
I agree a lot with Wendy, especially the different aspects that it's very different when it goes no matter global or localized. There are three different aspects you need to adapt, like the cultural difference or the platform relevance or the content tone adaptation. In my case, because I'm very deep into the content, so I know a lot of brands think if you go globally or localization, it just means a very direct translation of your content or your other assets, but actually it's totally not. We have certain situations you need to translate the certain copyright or visual, but if you do a line by line, it always sounds very rigid in the local language or the local culture. So there's some tricks that I always have is when I receive the content and I understand the whole thing first, then I will translate. So in this case, you're not limited to a line by line translation, because if you do that detail by detail, in the end the overall meaning come out will be very strange in the locals' ears. So this is just one example that's no matter going globally or localization, it's not just limited to direct translation. There's so many different elements that will affect the result. So basically, that's the three aspects. Are the key elements.
I totally agree with Zoe. Direct translation usually looks very awkward because the cultural relevance is usually ignored. For example, Adidas changed its slogan, "Impossible is nothing," because of Muhammad Ali, the boxing champion. But in China, it doesn't look as suitable because we can't really relate to his experience. So for us, a recent trend is female power, and how the translation is adjusted is by changing it to "You got this," from the athlete Wu Yanni and her mom. So it's more relatable to most of consumers in China, and it's still remaining the similar meaning of the brand trying to express. And I remember seeing one of the creative content we made for this brand. It's very cute. For Instagram, I remember it being more professional side, and it's more B2B tone, which is a bit serious. But as a platform which is more social first, like RedNote, we made more of the engaging content with creative clips, which I really like transition. And I saw a big change in terms of followers.
I agree with all of you guys, what you said, but more importantly, I think brands, when they use social media to go global, what will be interesting is to look at what they are doing in actual platforms. If they are already in Facebook and Instagram, and they are going to platforms like in China, for example, you have RedNote and WeChat, etc. So they need to understand what is the style of content that resonate with them. I think this is one of the most important things. I'm pretty sure the type of writing and the type of visual, it will be different. So if they copy and paste what they're doing already, and they do it in China, for example, it may not resonate with customer behavior in China. So first of all, I think customer behavior study is super important. Understand who is the end client and the audience you are talking to. Now, when they do that, then they can see what content works for them the best. Could be social branding, could be content related to promotions, depend what kind of content they want to build, and they adapt that to the different platforms. Because in China, you can adapt to different platforms, but as long you have the base. If the base is there, you can adapt it in a form of articles, you can adapt it in a form of, videos, different platforms like in Douyin and WeChat video channel. So you can adapt, but you need to have that base. And that base is understanding the end client, what's their behavior, and how they will perceive your content. It will be very interesting for you to share with us, for example, how did we help foreign client who's entering the Chinese market? If we have some case studies that we can share with the audience.
Yeah, sure. Actually, we so far under our management there is one brand that's from overseas, and we start doing social media marketing for them since this year already, like half year. And when we start the cooperation together, we come up with the social media strategy for Chinese market, because they from the brand side they suggested us that we can take their headquarters content as example. For example, what's going on Instagram or LinkedIn. But in the end, we found out actually what headquarters posted in overseas social media platform cannot completely adapt it to Chinese social media, such as like RedNote and WeChat official account even. Because for Instagram, the layout is quite sleek and clean. So the headquarters did from their aesthetic side, like all the cover page are very clean with very straightforward copy. Then when you scroll, it's just plain pictures, but of course well cut, like the color is correct. But when it goes to RedNote, even though a lot of people, of course, we say like RedNote are very similar with Instagram, but in this part, the same aesthetic content come to RedNote, it looks quite dull and boring. So we have to do certain adjustment when it comes to the cover page or the design of the whole post. This is one example of how we adapted their brand into Chinese market. Even though like the two platforms probably 80% similar, but the 20% that are quite different, it's also change a lot of how you adapt to the platforms.
And for example, when you say adapt the marketing material, do we needed to create a new marketing material, or we adapted the actual marketing material? Let's say if I take example of videos.
Yes.
Okay. If they had already videos for their brand, so will we need to make a new videos adapted to the Chinese market, or take the same videos but the concept at least and then change it, or publish the same actually and just change the copyright?
80% time we need to change. So we use same visual asset, the same video material, but how we re-edit the video is gonna be a lot according to the platform that we can publish. So and of course this is come to the material re-editing, and the copyright also is quite different. Like for RedNote, we have like short format, like each line you need to cut perfectly, and pure Chinese for the local, of course, local language. And for other platforms such as WeChat Video Channel, we have the bilingual. The copyright you also need to, so the layout of the copyright here is quite different from RedNote. RedNote is more like line by line, so it's more clear and straightforward. But for WeChat Video Channel users, it's more like a paragraph.
Yeah.
And for TikTok, like Chinese, like Douyin, so the copyright also you need to keep it very short in the paragraph side, and the hashtag you need to control it into 5. So you see like the same visual asset, then we change the marketing material adapted to the local market, then we change the copyright even according to different platforms. So this is because they are quite different.